So the reason I brought this up is because I'd seen this a couple places, and then I heard it on Kind of Funny Games Daily also after I'd already put it in the show notes.
Mm-hmm.
And Amazon is coming out with a streaming, or they're working on a streaming gaming service. They was like officially announced kind of thing. And earlier this year, Microsoft talked about StreamX, I think is what it's called, and then Google. Did Project Stream.
I said Steam.
Which not like they announced it a few weeks after Microsoft did, and then also said it's live right now. Play this game.
Yeah.
Sign up for the beta and play this game.
Oh. Wow.
And it was Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which is a big fucking game, and would take
free.
I think so, for beta. I think it was free, but they were limiting beta tests. I think it was free. I could be wrong on that. I didn't get in it, so I don't know. But I do know that, Jared Petty from Kind of Funny did get into it, and that's how he's been playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and he said like it's amazing. He thought it was going to be bad, like the streaming lag and this and that. Christian Spicer played some of it this way and said it's mind-blowing how well it works, especially with the game as intricate as Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It's not like a first-person shooter where you really have to be on your inputs, but the fighting you definitely have to counter, and the fighting actually would suffer if there was a lot of network lag, and he said that he never felt that. And how do you guys feel about like the quote-unquote streaming future of video games? Like there's the rumors about the StreamX or whatever Microsoft is called. I think it's StreamX. It's in there somewhere.
Project xCloud.
xCloud? Okay. Where I think trademarks came out for about a code name, Project Scarlet, which was supposedly a diskless streaming Xbox, only streaming Xbox. Yeah, diskless. I said it properly, but yes.
I'm imagining you're like, okay, get this right.
I was dreading not getting it right. So, do you guys feel like this is like the future of gaming? How would you interact? How would the way you interact with video games change if all of a sudden it was like no more trays, no more discs? You're not owning anything anymore. You're just digitally streaming things for a service similar to Netflix or Amazon Prime or Hulu Plus.
I like that still.
I feel like
I'd rather download the game.
I feel like I would be ignorant if I didn't believe that this was the future. Right. Because I do think it's the future. And I don't know fully how it works. I mean, it's interesting, right? Because like in theory, it could mean that like, it obviously throws hardware out the window.
Yeah.
And someone could pretty much do whatever they fucking want. Essentially, like, make the game as pretty or as technically insane as they want because you're just fucking streaming it, right? Or I don't know.
Yes, but
I don't know how that works.
You also have to take into account that it's not like you don't have to pay for the hardware anymore, technically. I mean, whatever your subscription fee is going to pay for that hardware on their end.
Right.
But and just like with anything, the more they try and push what quote unquote standards are, the more chance there's going to be that it lags coming to you trying to push that much data down the thin pipe of internet we have in America.
But it's an interesting thing to think about, that it kind of throws tech specs out the window.
Right.
In terms of, this system, is it capable of doing this, and that? So it's fascinating.
I could say, I'm sorry, go on.
I don't think it would change the way that I consume video. Like, I just think if that became how you play video games now, then that's how it is. Now, what I do think, saying what you just said, if the tech stuff is, what the fuck? Is that for real? The Stay Hydrated bot?
Oh, yeah, I put that there.
Right when Mike took a drink, too. Wow, okay. What I will say is, especially if, like, someone decides to really push the fucking limits with the tech, like you said, that money is coming from somewhere. So the way that I feel like this would work at first, wouldn't be just a what do they call it, an over the top thing? I pay this per month. I don't think, at least at first, it would be a subscription model. I think you'd still pay per game, and that's fine. I think that's fine.
Yes, I think that's fine too. But I need to have the option to download it though. Like that better be an option.
Right, and it
should
be.
But again, that's gonna be a thing to where like, well then that does not remove the hardware specs thing. Then that means whatever box you're downloading to needs to have those specs.
Yeah. That's fucking complicated.
Yeah. It's complicated. We talked about this before. When Saints Row the Third came out, I tried the on live service because it was for a month free or whatever,
Right, yeah.
and I talked about it on here, and I was able to play through most of Saints Row the Third without any real problems then. But people weren't ready for it then. Then it was terrible. Then it's bad. Then it's laggy and my internet doesn't work. Like, I don't have great internet. And at the time I had a shit router that was not pushing, and I was playing over Wi-Fi. I was not hardline.
Right.
But it worked. I plugged my Xbox 360 controller into my laptop. I launched on live, and I played through 60-70% of Saints Row the Third. This was after I had already gotten the Platinum Trophy in it with Rick. So, like, I know the game, how it's supposed to play and how it's supposed to feel and how things are supposed to work in that world. And I had zero issues with OnLive. And I remember talking about that here. I didn't continue on and get a subscription or buy games through it because I don't play games. I don't want to have to open my laptop and plug it into a TV to play video games. And this is also something that they're doing on Switch in Japan.
Yeah, they are.
Resident Evil 7 and Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I think, are games that you can only get in Japan on Switch, but they stream them to your Switch.
Yep.
And, like, I've talked about it before, like, when I first got the Switch, and at that time I was trying to play through Fallout 4 on the PS4, and was like, and I looked at my Switch and I said, you know, God damn it, Nintendo. I would have gladly given you an extra $100 to $150 if I could just pick this thing up right now and be playing Fallout 4 on my way out the door. And I think that the sooner this streaming stuff starts to work, the sooner it starts to take into account infrastructure and mobile network and you know, other types of internet, other ways to pull down content, not just through a hard line to a router. The sooner they get to that, I think the sooner this takes over video gaming.
Yeah. I want to play devil's advocate for a second because, like, you brought up, I better be able to download the game. And so I don't know that I'm trying to think. When you buy a movie, like on Amazon Prime, digital, and you buy a game, are you always allowed the option to download it? Because when you buy it, you could also just stream it.
Yeah.
You
download it to your device and you can watch it.
But you could also just stream it.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you buy it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is, what difference does it make? Why do I have to download it? If it's giving me the key to the car to start it, and I can play it, and I need to pay money to play it, does it ultimately actually matter if I could download the game? Especially if it's going to hurt the technical experience, if it won't be as awesome.
As a consumer, yes. As somebody who's just wanting to play video games, no, it doesn't matter. As a consumer, I don't want to turn it on one day and then be like, your license is up. Even though you gave us $60.
Well, I think, but I see that's being presumptuous, though. I feel like that would be eliminated at that point.
That's the path we go down. That's the slope that starts to get slippery.
You mean you're saying you pay for?
I'm paying
let's say
let's say it's $60. I'm paying $60 to play Assassin's Creed Odyssey to stream it.
And then they say,
and then it's like, oh, sorry, we don't have.
They couldn't do that though. I think if this is the future they went, I feel like they wouldn't be able to do that anymore because then that's where you have a problem. So I'm saying in my world, let's say,
but there,
but I hear you. But in my world though, let me just say that like, you can download. Let's say you can download it, but if you don't download it, it's going to be more technically awesome because it's not relying on something. And then let's say also once you buy it, it is yours and it's yours forever, and they can't take it away from you. Let's say that's the world we live in. I mean, do you have a problem with that?
Yes.
I don't understand.
I don't want them to be able to, like, there's been games that have been completely removed from storefronts digitally.
No, I know.
Yeah, and that's the thing I don't.
But I'm saying now, if they don't do that, because I feel like if this is the future of games,
if they don't do that,
keep it and that's yours,
then I'm fine.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
I still am in that mindset to where
they can take it away.
Yeah, I still like they could.
Apple
could.
has done that with some of my music where they've relinquished license or something like that, and like I couldn't play certain songs because I couldn't.
And again, it's a subscription service. I pay for Amazon Music Unlimited, but when I went to listen to my Christmas music playlist this year, like half of the songs were no longer streamable on that service. Now I didn't pay $10 for that album, and then it got removed, and I can't access it anymore. But it's one of those things to where I pay for the service. I downloaded those albums. Like, I downloaded everything on that playlist to my phone. so I could play it offline, and those songs still are gone because again, it's part of that service. So if it's a service I'm paying for, if it's $50 a year, $60 a year, like Xbox Live or PlayStation Plus or whatever, and stuff like that happens to go away or move off the service, then it doesn't bother me. But the minute you're asking me to pay full price for something, then who knows, maybe their license with Ubisoft runs out, because they don't sign deals in perpetuity. They sign deals for a number of years because Ubisoft wants to be able to make money down the road some other way and be able to control their IP, so they don't do deals in perpetuity. It's happened with Rock Band, where songs get completely delisted and removed from the store.
But see, I don't like. That's what we know. I'm saying to me, if this is the future we're going down, I feel like this is what they'd have to do. It's like, look, you could play this without any technical restrictions, but you have to stream it. And you buy the game and it's yours forever. I feel like that's what they'd have to say. Like, if that's the world we live in, I don't have a problem with not being able to download it at that point, because that would be the change. That's the change. Yeah. So what I'm saying, I understand what you're saying. What you're saying is valid and fair, but that's what we know now. You know what I mean?
And based on what we know now, I would have a problem paying full price for a game that I could only stream.
Do you think people...
as long as it's mine forever, I don't have a problem with that. And I don't want to sit here and assume that one day they're gonna rip it away from me, because I feel like
and I don't want
if you're gonna offer that, I feel like they can't. There have to be language in there that says they can't fucking do that.
So with OnLive and it being shut down, they had a model where you could do a subscription or you could outright buy games. If you outright bought games, they went out of business. They're gone now. Their license is gone, so your license is gone, whether you paid full price for that game or were paying for their streaming service. So, again, yes, going forward, that would have to change.
Yeah.
But based on what I know now, if going into it were what I know now,
right,
I wouldn't want to pay full price for something on that kind of a service.
Yeah, because that doesn't work. Right. But in the hypothetical video game future, if streaming becomes the thing, this is what it would have to be. It's like, look, this is how you do it. You don't have to download it to a system, but it's yours, and it's yours forever.
Yeah. And who's to say that, I don't know, 3 years from now, I don't have a beefier PC that can just straight up run Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Like, I would like the option to download it so I could play it offline,
I get it, but again, we're talking like hypothetical. We're talking about a few. This is in the future, so it's hard to see now. So I just don't think it's fair to put the parameters on what we're talking about, what this could turn into, onto that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so my whole point is, if the game is mine and it's mine forever, but I don't have the option to download it, I don't have a problem with that. Because if it's still mine, it's mine forever, and I get to play it whenever I want to, then I don't need to physically have the download of it. So
I've been increasingly going more digital with my video game purchases lately, which is something I didn't think I would do, especially to the, as much as I am right now.
More than me.
But I definitely, like, especially with something like the Switch, where I know that there's ways to migrate accounts and stuff like that. But, like, let's fucking say that there's a leak in my roof and it's raining and my Switch gets hit with water and gets fucking smoked. And, like, yes, it's a process I can go through to migrate my account. But, like, before they introduced that, it was like, no, everything is on one console. It's one thing. Sorry.
Yeah. Thankfully,
that's changed, and it's one of those things. Like, that has changed, but I never worried about that with Microsoft or with Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3 when I had those accounts, because they, like, out of the gate were like, you can sign into your account on any PlayStation or any Xbox 360, and your purchases are there. You're gonna have to re-download them, but they're there. There was like a while where Sony had an arbitrary number of how many times you could download something. Steam, up until recently, they might still have it. They had an arbitrary number of times you could fucking download something after buying it. No.
Yeah.
I bought it. It's mine. And if you're gonna sell me the license to play this game for now, pricing needs to adjust. But you can't do that in video games, because video games are getting more and more expensive to make. And I, for one, and I know I'm not in the fucking minority, feel like when these new consoles come out, game prices are going to go up at least $10. At the very least $10. Probably more. We'll probably be back in a world of variable game pricing like we were on SNES and N64. Like, that's going to happen. And to sit here and think it's not going to happen, I think that's ignorant, because we've been paying the same price for games for 20 years. And like, that's not taking into account inflation.
You know what's funny though? Like, because games now are $60, right?
Yeah.
I remember being a little kid, and Nintendo games were like $80.
Some games were.
Yeah, and unless it's like some sort of special edition, they're usually not $80 now. So it is interesting that games are more.
We're paying less.
Technical beasts, more epic stories, and yeah, you're paying less on the regular. If you're just buying the regular edition.
So like, Red Dead could have been that. I'm shocked, honestly, that Red Dead wasn't the first game to go. Base price is $80 now, guys.
Mm-hmm. At some point in Red Dead, by the way, because it's 2 discs, right?
Yeah.
But because you install it, there's no point where you swap disc, right?
No.
Okay.
One disc is a 50 gig install.
Yeah.
And then the other disc is the rest of it, then the executable for you to play.
Mm.
But yeah, like that alone, like physical media alone, it's 2 fucking discs. That could have easily jumped the price, jumped at $10. And then all the content that's in that fucking game, how long they've been working on it, how much detail they put into it. And even though it is my most disappointing game of 2018, it was also one of my favorite games of 2018.
Yeah.
So like, and I would have paid $80 for that experience because of how much they crammed into that game. And I'm shocked that Rockstar, being the company that they are, didn't throw their balls on the table and be like, this is an $80 game, guys. Base. And that's it. No negotiating, no adjustments, because similar to Nintendo, their games stay full price for a very, very long time. I know Grand Theft Auto 5 recently has been like $20 on anywhere you want, whether it's physical or digital, on whatever storefront you want. But there was, up until about a year ago, that game was still $60 everywhere, and $54 if you bought it used at a GameStop. Their games don't lose value. And like, in a way, I'm kind of bummed out that they didn't throw it on the table and say, this is the new price of video games.
Yeah.
Because they're one of the few, if not only, companies that could have gotten away with it, and it could have been that sea change, so people realize, oh, I've been getting away with murder for the last 15 years paying $60 for video games.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't happen yet.
Right. And I don't know the business side entirely, but I'm assuming Rockstar, they don't have the power to do that. Like, I'm assuming at the end of the day, Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, like, this is the price of games. You can't tell us what to charge for. I don't know how that works.
I think it's publisher. Like, as far as I've heard, like, even on Nintendo consoles where I'm always complaining about prices being high, like, yes, their first-party games are gonna be, but, like, Diablo is not a Nintendo game. That pricing is publisher decided. Mm-hmm. We're gonna try and charge you $60 for this 10-year-old game, but you're gonna like it.
But what I'm saying is could the publisher tell Nintendo, Sony, or Microsoft, I know you guys for your full games only charge $60, but we're gonna charge $80 for this? Do they have the power or the right to do that when that's not how that goes?
I would think so, because if you go back to the Xbox 360, for the first year of the Xbox 360, all first-party titles were still $49.99, but everything else was $60. So as far as I know, the publisher decides the price, and not the platform holder, the publisher of the video game.
I'd love to look into that more. Yeah. But you get what I'm saying? Because
like,
there's no such, like, $100 game doesn't exist, you know, in terms of just like the straight up base game, like not with the collectibles. So I'm wondering if they could be like, you know, I know that this, like, hey, this is what we charge for games. Like, I'd be curious to hear if they do have that power.
I mean, it being a free marketplace, I think,
you know what I mean?
Like, I don't think that the platform holder could hold that over a publisher.
I want to research that.
Yeah, we'll look into that.
Because I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
You know,
as far as everything I've heard, it's publisher decided.
Yeah,
but we can look into that and maybe talk about it next week.
Like I get that part of it, but I mean, okay, well, just know that the range of game could be anywhere from $1 to $60. Yeah. I just wonder if they have the power to be like, well, we think this game should be $80. Yeah. Like, I wonder if that's okay, but I don't know.
I you know what? And honestly, if the store, if like say digital storefront and like the licensing fee they pay the platform holder to have their game on that system, I don't think they would mind, because if it's a percentage base, they're just going to get more money per unit sold.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
I'd be interested. I think the other thing about this story, like, take all the stuff we were saying about, like, what it means, like, can I download it, whatever.
Yeah.
If this is the gaming future, essentially everyone becomes a software company. They're no longer a hardware company anymore.
Right.
And that's fascinating.
Yes.
And then I guess what changes about it is you could, like, I'm like, okay, so does that mean everyone's on one playground? Not necessarily, because you could still have, like, well, this is Nintendo's digital thing.
Yeah.
And this is Microsoft's digital thing, and this is Sony's digital thing. And yeah, these games are cross-platform. I don't know. It's such a weird...
It's happening in PC right now. I mean, you have the Steam store.
Yeah.
You have the Epic launcher.
Yeah.
You've got Good Old Games' launcher.
Yeah.
You've got, like... And there's games right now that are saying...
It is already happening.
It's already happening. It's already happening on the PC
Such
front.
a weird... It's just such a weird thing to wrap your head around.
EA has their launcher. Ubisoft has their launcher.
I guess it's like... I guess this is going off subscription though. See, that's the part that like yeah, how do you fucking do it? Especially with streaming.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking games. And it's just like you can't it's so hard. You can't do the same model with Netflix and Hulu and stuff with video games because yes, you could do the thing where it's like you have all the old stuff that's already been out and that's nice you have that all streaming or whatever. But you know, Netflix has I.O. coming out next week and season 2 of The Punisher coming out next week and Stranger Things and stuff. Right now, at least, they don't say, hey, you're already paying a subscription to watch all this backlog of stuff, but if you want to watch the new season of this, you also have to pay this. You know what I mean?
Right.
Where
I think like, that's just a product of when their subscription model started.
Maybe. But like, yeah, like with video games, like, I don't think you could do that. Like, you couldn't have a subscription service and be like, hey, GTA 8 is coming out, part of your subscription model. Like, you couldn't. I mean, I guess WWE does that now with their pay-per-views, but that's just a different beast. I feel like with new games, you'd have to pay individually.
Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah.
All first-party Microsoft games are day and date for $10 a month.
Yeah, fuck. So they are doing it to an extent.
They're doing it. Hard. It's happening.
So I guess you could do something where...
And those games don't stick around in perpetuity.
That's fucked up. Well, it's not fucked up.
In that case, that's not fucked up. And I'm not paying full price for them, though.
Yeah, so that's not
I don't have a problem with that.
That's not fucked up.
Similar to PlayStation Plus. Like, yes, I have the option to download these games for free this month, but if my PlayStation Plus account ever lapses, I don't have access to those games anymore. Guess what? I don't mind, because I'm not paying for those games individually, piecemeal.
So I guess you could do like a WWE Network sort of model where it's like, okay, you could pay $9.99. We'll just say that. You could pay $9.99 and you can get all of our new games. Yeah. But that's all you get. Yes. You don't get with video games. Yeah. I feel like that's how they have to do it. You don't get any of the backlog. But if you want all the backlog, or maybe even if you want to keep the shit a little bit longer, you're gonna have to pay $30 a month or something. Yeah. I guess they could introduce models like that, but like it's making my brain kind of want to explode thinking about some of this stuff.
Microsoft completely fucked this whole thing up.
Yeah.
By starting Game Pass when they did. They would have waited to launch it with their new console, which like I feel like that's coming out this year. Or getting announced big time and a push for it this year.
Yeah.
I really
announced
think
for sure. I'd be surprised if theirs came out though.
I think they're in the same boat they were with the 360 and they need to push it like they did the 360 a year before everybody else. That's a whole other topic we can get on. But I think by not waiting, they've completely fucked this whole streaming thing up.
Yeah.
Because they could have waited and then said, we got this thing, guys, called Game Pass. And if you just want our first party games, it's $10 a month. But if you want third party games, we're working on those deals, but that's going to cost more when we can lock that down. But because they've come out and like, it's $10 a month. Here you go. And then I think Fallout 4 is a part of that. Like there are some big third-party games that are part of Game Pass for still that $10 a month. And I kind of think they've screwed the pooch for everybody by doing that.
Yeah. Because
now if Sony comes out and says, well, here's all our games for $10 a month, but for $15 you can get the third parties, people are going to say, hey, no. That's happening like this somewhere else. You can't do that.
Yeah.
So I really do think they've kind of hurt that whole model.
Yeah, they're going to have to change it.
All right.
No matter what. So, I don't know. It makes my head hurt, man.
Yeah, right?
It's such a weird... I had another thought when you were talking about that stuff, but it's such a weird thing to process.
Yeah.
It really is. I don't know. I lost my thought, but I had more.
Rick, you got any thoughts?
That went away a long time ago.
Rick always
But I
just
had
goes
my
dark
thoughts.
during.
No, I
video
had my
game
thoughts, but you
section.
guys were all into it, so I'm like, all right, I'll shut up.
We'll remember.
I don't remember.